Good evening. Good evening, kings and queens of the land. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to the royals. Good evening. I want to say good evening to the liberated zones of in Africa. We only have three zones which are liberated in Africa, which is Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Burkina Faso led by President Ibrahim Traore, Mali led by President Assimi Goita, and Niger led by President Abdurrahman Tian. Those are the only three liberated zones. We salute the Lions of the Sahel for their bravery, for taking the motherland using force and pushing out the colonizer using the same language, the same approach in which the white people have approached us through the barrel of the guns. The three Sahel states have taken over control of their motherland. Good evening to the liberated zone, partially liberated zone in South Africa under the leadership of the MK party led by President Zuma. Good evening to President Zuma and the MK party. Um, President Zuma or the MK party or KZN is actually the only part in the British, under the British colony, which is partially liberated, the only part. In Africa, we've got 54 countries. Out of 54 countries, there's only three um, countries which are led by people with sane mind. The rest of the continent is led by criminals. Um, all the governments in Africa are military governments. It's just that when you are under the military government of the British, they call it democracy. When you are under the military government of the French, they call it democracy. And when you are under the imperial rule of the Americans, they call it democracy. But now, no government in the whole world is actually not led by military government. All the governments are led by military governments. I have said it before. I spoke about the government of the people. The government, the current governments in Africa being criminals. I spoke about it several times in the royal opinion. We spoke about the criminal nature of colonialism. When the arrival of white people was criminal. The way they took the land, they took it in a criminal way. So obviously, when you take the land by the gun, you have to sustain the land by the gun. And when you defeat people by the guns, you have to subdue them, to continue to subdue them using the gun, because that's the only way you know how to. Several issues today I want to talk about in South Africa. Uh, we've said it before that this year there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be revealed. The criminals are getting revealed. Um, President Zuma is not one of the names which are um, tainted in this criminality. President Zuma is one of the names which remains clean. Over the past 2 days, President Zuma and the MK party were campaigning. The MK party is the only party in South Africa which is still campaigning up to now. The other political organizations are in chaos, in damage control, trying to get around the criminals which are in their ranks, trying to protect the criminals which are within their ranks. Many political parties are very quiet. The EFF, notably, those are the people who would normally call a press conference in situations like this. There has never been a press conference of the EFF. The Democratic Alliance, those are the people who would normally make noise when situations are like this. They are very quiet, nobody is talking. People are trying to link President Zuma. People are trying to bring President Zuma in a negative way in this conversation, but President Zuma does not appear in a negative manner in these conversations that are trying to say. I had Malema saying President Zuma fired and Ntantam Kwanazi while the time he was president. He's not commenting about what is happening currently. He's taking the issue back to President Zuma because the one who should be tainted about everything and who should be seen in the bad light is President Zuma. President Zuma in the media being vilified. Thank you very much for joining. Salute, Fanam Laole. Salute, Fanam Laole. Thank you very much for joining. He says, salute to Comrade Mkonto, salute to the Royals, all the GNU members and EFF are criminals. Exactly, that's my point. I've been trying to say now the criminals will be revealed. You know, when you hear people like Julius Malema being so quiet, no press conference, the MK party has now put in motion of no confidence in parliament against President Ramaphosa. The EFF will not support the motion of no confidence against President Ramaphosa because they work together with President Ramaphosa. They are all criminals. They are funded with drug monies. They are all funded with drug money. Let's remember that President Ramaphosa was bought his conference, the conference of the ANC that put President Ramaphosa in his position. It was bought. People were bought, paid money for him to rise to that position. This is an undisputed fact. Nobody has ever disputed it. Even the members of the ANC who are currently defending him, they agree that President Ramaphosa was bought. They were paid for him to take over as president. So obviously the criminals were paying so that they can install their own criminal so that they can run the show. At the moment in South Africa, if you are a normal citizen, you will have a problem if you comment or do anything minor. But there's quite a lot of people, big people, who are doing a lot of havoc, creating a lot of havoc in our communities and getting away with it. We talk about eliminating people, we talk about these ANC comrades, they don't mind being in the destruction of the black man. Nkosana Fulani saying, good evening, Nkosane. Thank you very much for joining. Saying good evening to the Opinion family, where we get the best analysis better than those of the mainstream paid up propagandist analyst first student in class. Thank you. Thank you very much. The mainstream media is a propaganda machines for the politicians. President Zuma is here to end politics. So these mainstream media, their job is to create propaganda and to brainwash people, so that people don't know the reality and the truth. Senzo Mtunu was supposed to be arrested by now, but is protected by the government, is protected by the establishment, is protected by the system. President Ramaphosa, if it wasn't because he's leading by a military government, nobody, in actual fact, in South Africa, nobody wants President Ramaphosa to be. I have never met anybody who says they want Ramaphosa to be president. Like in the past 5 years, there's never been anybody whom I met and said they wanted Ramaphosa to be president. The only thing which is keeping him there is his compliance with his bosses, who are our colonial masters, the British and the Americans, who are here to exploit black people and to take what belongs to black people, who are here to come and mine and take our resources, who are here to feed our children, the children of South Africa, with drugs, so that nobody is left to defend their fatherland, their motherland. The Fanam Lauli saying Malema and GNU members, white capital, were the ones that convinced Mabuza to betray Arity. These charlatans, having betrayed, oh my gosh, my battery is dying. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for patience. I actually forgot to plug my laptop into a charger. Thank you very much for patience. Mr. Fadam Lauli, very right. You are very correct. We've had this guy who was talking at the funeral as well, exposing them, exposing that Malema was actually involved in the planning of this CR17, the rise of Ramaphosa to become president. They said they were doing it for the nation. So Malema, Holomisa, Robert Gumede said it at the funeral of Mabuza. Sorry. So All of these people are just criminals. All of these people are just criminals. They are not people who will liberate, who aim to liberate black people from slavery, who aim to liberate black people from the white system. That's why even today we still have Van Riebeek streets everywhere in every town. If they were serious about liberating people, they would have even changed the street's name up to now. It's 30 years down the line. Nothing has changed. Everything, apartheid is still remaining. Black people, black children are getting worse in drugs supplied by the politicians themselves. I actually wanted to uh, as well talk about three issues. Actually, I want to talk about uh, three issues. One, the President Zuma visited Morocco. I think 4 days ago, President Zuma was in Morocco. Uh, Morocco and the Western Sahara have been in conflict since 1975. The reason since 1975, which is now 50 years down the line, the reason why they have been in so conflict for so long, the Western Sahara, it's a land that belongs to the Kingdom of Morocco, which was colonized by by the Spanish. It was divided. Morocco was divided like they when white people came to divide Africa, they divided us in a way they wanted, without giving consideration to kingdoms and the people who are reigning at a particular place. So the people of the Western Sahara were colonized by the Spanish. When black people were fighting for freedom, or when Africa was fighting for freedom from colonization against the Western countries in 1975, Morocco, the Western Sahara was given back its freedom. But the problem is they the Spanish wanted to remain. They wanted Western Sahara to become a country while it was actually under Morocco. So they wanted it to become a country. The reason they wanted to become a country is because they want to retain a control. They want to retain a control in the area. They want to control there's the access to the Atlantic Ocean. That's what they want to. The main thing they want is access to the Atlantic Ocean. They wanted to keep control on that. And there's a lot of phosphate which is found in the Western Sahara and other minerals which are found there. The West wanted to keep control of that, and so they divided it away from Morocco. So President Zuma was there to mediate. He actually wants to mediate the conflict in order to end it. The MK stance is that uh, Africa should be united. Black people should be united, and Africa should become one thing, led by multipolar order. Multipolar order is allowing people and cultures to rule themselves. President Zuma wants to end the politics. The politics was brought by the British and the Americans in the name of democracy when they dethroned the kingdoms. They put these structures which would help them to be able to keep control of the people of the land. So the British wanted to keep control of black people, so they put democracy in place in order to In actual fact, I don't understand this concept of voting. If anybody else understands, you can comment. My take is, even building a family, just just building a family, being a father, or building a house, or building a family, it cannot be achieved in 5 years. Building a proper family cannot be achieved in 5 years. You haven't done anything in 5 years when you are building a family. So, what about if you want to build a country? What can be achieved in 5 years? What can you achieve in 5 years if we want to be realistic? People work all of their lives without achieving anything. People work from the age of 19 up until age of 60 to 70 there without having able to achieve anything. So, I mean, if we want consistency, why should we go with a system? Can you imagine if the father was to be voted out every 5 years? Would we ever have a stable family anywhere? If the mother or the father was to be voted out every 5 years, were we going to have a family anywhere in this world? A stable family which would actually go on to the next generation? I don't think so. So the concept of democracy and the concept of voting every 5 years, it's actually a bad concept. It's actually something that cause, I mean, you are still starting. In 3 years' time, you are still starting. People are now talking about elections. It's like black people are living for elections. King Victor Shawma joining. Thank you very much for joining. Greetings, royal family. BRICS has initiated the de-dollarization process. Thank you very much for that information. BRICS has initiated the de-dollarization process. Indeed, that's very true. The BRICS have started the de-dollarization process. That's why BRICS is under attack now. That's why even the war in Iran, which is the country which came up with the payment system for BRICS to be independent of the dollar. That's why Iran was under attack by Israel. That's why the war in Iran as well. So the issues that I wanted to talk about, one is President Zuma in Morocco becoming wanting to mediate the conflict. Um, President Zuma has been mediating in this conflict for a bit longer while he was still president of South Africa. President Zuma was mediating to end the conflict, but the conflict could not be ended because there are other people who are funded by the outsiders to go on with the conflict, to go on fighting against the Moroccan government occupation of the land of the Western Sahara, and of which it's actually the kingdom of Morocco which has been ruling in that area before colonization. The kingdom, obviously, Africa belongs to black people. Every part of Africa was occupied by black people, but Arab came and defeated black people and took over some of the land, settled in Africa. Africa being a welcoming country, uh, the Egyptians, Arabs, and the Morocco Arabs have settled a long time before white people could come. So Africa is also their home. So those are the people who were occupying the place before. So President Zuma wants to mediate to end that conflict. I would say we wish him well in that endeavor, and the MK party, we wish the MK party's position to say Morocco should be given the right in actual fact, the main reason President Zuma says Morocco should be given the territorial integrity, it's because President Zuma is advocating for for Africa to unite. So when we advocate for Western Sahara to become another country, we are further dividing Africa into pieces, like what the colonizer did. The project did not end there. The project is still continuing even today. If we allow Western Sahara to become another country in Africa, country number 55. So President Zuma taking a stance that the Western Sahara should not become another country. It should unite uh, with Morocco. The stance which President Zuma has taken is consistent with the message that he's been preaching in South Africa, that black people should unite and vote together to defeat the white system, to remove politics from black people. He proposed that black people should unite. In consistency with that, President Zuma, that's why he's been actually exploited, because uh, he's been exploited by uh, the invaders. He's been exploited by the system owners, by sending people to come and invade the MK party, because President Zuma wants to unite black people, taking that advantage, sending their agents into the MK party. But well, President Zuma, being President Zuma, a man who knows when to act and how to act immediately when he discovers that there are agents inside the MK party, immediately discover that you are an agent, then he acts uh, irrespective of who you are, irrespective of the trust that he had in you. So President Zuma is able to remove those elements inside the MK party. The MK party attracted about 12,000 people. President Zuma was in campaign 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken, where 12,000 people gathered to come and listen to the MK party and to come and listen to President Zuma speaking. Is the only leader in South Africa at this stage who can call such crowds to come without busing them and without promising anybody KFC, without giving anybody alcohol, President Zuma, or giving anybody money or drugs. President Zuma is the only leader in South Africa who's still able to gather such crowds. And at the moment, the MK Party is the only organization which is continuously in campaign. And the ANC is still trying to get itself together for damage control against the criminals. Uh, Almost all of them are criminals. They have to do the damage control, all of them, to protect each other. The MK party, meanwhile, has put a vote of no confidence against President Zuma in parliament. We'll see how that will go. But what I can tell you is the Democratic Alliance is not going to vote with the MK party to remove President Zuma. The EFF will not vote with the MK party to remove President Ramaphosa. the EFF will not vote with the MK party to remove Ramaphosa, because the EFF has been involved in the rise of Ramaphosa. Malema has been involved. He was attending the meetings, the CR17 meetings. That's why there were other comrades in the EFF um, who were found to have received monies from the CR17, because those are the people, they were the agents inside the EFF, including the president of the EFF himself was an agent who foreseen and was promised some of the things, was promised something by um, um, the deputy president Mabuza, Didi Mabuza. We hear Robert Gumede saying Mabuza stuck to his word. So Mabuza actually stuck to his words on what he promised Julius Malema and Olumisa, that if Ramaphosa wins, they are going to have this and that and that. Even today, the EFF has just commented about the issues that Mkwanazi is raising. They have never acted in a way that would bring problems to the ANC, that would bring problems to the criminals. They are only talking to keep their members quiet. They can't even call a press conference. The ANC is not even, we're not even talking about press conference in the ANC, because the ANC does not even have the executive committee meetings these days. The decisions are made. It's not the ANC that makes the decisions. In all of this happening, I've never had the ANC having their executive meeting anywhere after, since the start of all of these scandals. I only hear press briefing by Fikile Mbalula, who gets his mandate from the Democratic Alliance, who has to talk, who talks to Helen Zille before he comes to talk to the people. So the MK party, I mean, the MK party was under attack, under massive attack of the media. Just a while ago, they were reporting about the divisions inside the MK party. It was like the mainstream media was going with that throughout. Now there are scandals. The mainstream media is quiet about Senzo Mchunu. There's one name missing in all of these talks when we're talking. President Cyril Ramaphosa is not appearing anywhere in the mainstream media. The mainstream media tries to drag President Zuma into these things, into the scandals. But they've never spoken about the involvement of Cyril Ramaphosa himself. There are links. At the end of the day, people will be revealed. At the end of the day, we will know what is happening. Because we've got brave men and women who are willing to talk, even if it means dying after talking. We've got a lot of people who are coward, but we still have some brave men and women who are willing to talk, even if it means being sabotaged for a business. Because when they sabotage you in government, they also sabotage you that you can't do even private business. You can't do business with the mines. And when they approve you, you can do business with all government and the private sector. When you are part of their criminality, when you agree to the destruction of the black child, when you agree to supply both legal and illegal drugs to black people, when you agree to that, then you are part of you will be given opportunities. Ibrahim Traore has started a school for husbands, for people who want, for men who wants to marry in the future, for men who wants to build families in the future or who are currently married. The first of its kind in the world, the husband school. The reason President Ibrahim Traore started this school is because of the destruction of the family of the black man. The black man who is supposed to lead his family, he cannot even lead himself. The values that the black man has to keep in order to take care of a family have been destroyed, strategically destroyed by the colonialism, systematically and strategically destroyed by colonialism. The confidence of the black man has been attacked. So President Ibrahim Traore started a school for men who wants to start families. Black boys are looking up to criminals. Black boys see success in criminality than in working hard, doing things for yourself, and loving others, taking care of others and loving others. They see success in the guns which are being displayed across their communities. So they are looking up to those people. When a nation looks up to criminals, then there's no way you can be able to build a family, because you can't build anything out of violence. Violence only destroys. There's nothing you can build out of violence. The black children have been turned into a big confusion. The LGBTQZY, which is being promoted to confuse the black child, and to destroy the black family. The marriage of same people who cannot be productive, who cannot produce children, being promoted. I don't mind if people do whatever they want to do, but it should not be promoted as our lives. It should not be promoted as what we do. Shongwe says MK faces fierce attack from all sides: EFF, Zuma, or modern apartheid and neo-colonialism. President Zuma is facing a mountain of attack. President Zuma is facing mountains of attack from international mafias and from local mafias and from stupid people, stupid white people, stupid black people, the people who can't realize the truth. When I say stupid black people or stupid white people, I mean the ones who think they are clever when they attack President Zuma. People who feel educated when they talk about when they say President Zuma is not educated. People who feel better when they say President Zuma is not supposed to be president because he's not educated. President Zuma was arrested by this government without doing anything and put to jail. The criminals are here killing people, killing children, giving drugs to school children, increasing in teenage pregnancy, alcoholism. I mean, alcohol it's in another level in South Africa. Like every person you meet on the road is dancing. Even on Monday, on Tuesday, if you meet people, they're just dancing because the alcoholism, which is in South Africa, is massive. Alcohol causes car accidents, causes violence in those places where they are drinking, fights among each other, creates unhealthy bodies, sick people, the casualties that are found over weekend. In actual fact, if you can go to hospital over weekend and see how overwhelmed the nurses are from the wounds of people who are coming from drinking. So in every part of South Africa, alcohol is able to reach. What is not able to reach is the water that people need. But alcohol is able to reach every part of South Africa, remote or wherever you are. Mkwanazi has revealed a mountain of issues. In actual fact, let me just share a little bit because when we talk about, when we say the MK party is in campaign on the 30th of this month, there's another campaign in Van. Let me just share a little bit where President Zuma was talking.
Phecelezi wekangenela ukuthi uphecelezi usho ukuthini uthi wayephecelezi izifo wawulapha izifo kamanye amazwi yebo uyabona manje angisangabazi ukuthi umbuso womuntu omnyama ubuyela kumuntu umbuso womuntu omnyama kuningi ke sizokwenza kulungisa izwe lakithi lokwenza ukuthi kuphela ukuhlupheka kubantu bakithi. Ngifuna ke siphinde webaba uthe usubabalela abantu bathi sebengaphezulu. Asifuna ukubala into engaphelele. Awusho baba. Sifuna ukuba nenamba eqonde ukuthi bangaki abantu esiba-organizile esikhathini esifishane nje. Ngikusho lokho ngoba ngifuna ukuthi sebebalile bathi naw sokukhona 12,000. Mayibabo. Kodwa ngiyo
President Zuma celebrating the crowds which amounted to 12,000 people, uh, organized overnight, we can say. The only party, when we talk about the MK party, the only party which still organizing and still calling crowds. Um, Mr. Victor Shong was saying Malema's name has been associated with Matala, yet the news are not viral. The criminality of Kenukunene must have started before he joined the Patriotic Alliance. Previously, he was with the EFF. Uh, Obviously, when you hear people being so quiet about such a big issue, Malema would be the one. Previously, when President Zuma was still the president of the country, Malema would be making noise, going to parliament, kicking chairs there, going to courts, uh, uh, winning cases against President Zuma with the system. At the moment, they're not doing any of those things. They're not doing any of those things. Him and President Ramaphosa are actually staying in the same complex there in Joburg where they are staying. They stay together so that when the colonial master wants them to have a meeting, they can quickly have a meeting. So President Ramaphosa and Julius Malema are working together very closely than people can imagine. These are paid up characters, paid up actors. They not fighting for the freedom of black people. They are fighting to be part of the people who are eating from the sweat and the blood of black people. These are criminals uh, who are afraid to go and work on their own to produce for their families. They want to sell black people too because that's an easy way to make money. Uh, I heard that human trafficking has surpassed drugs uh, in the amount of money which is being made from human trafficking. Meaning, if you sell people, you make more profits than when you sell drugs. So it's actually an easy way out in life for cowards, for stupid people. It's an easy way out. So they go and sell black people instead of the mothers sit at the corners and sell tomatoes. They go and sell black people in the table of the master, saying, I have these numbers behind me. These people will not do anything without me giving them instruction to rise against you. These people will only rise against the people that I instruct them to rise against. So when you've got such bargaining power, then the master gives them a space in the table. Julius Malema is one of those people who get space in the table of the master, who is just happy to get the space in the table of the master. Floyd Chibambo, Julius Malema, all of those people are not running businesses, proper businesses. They're actually eating scrums from their master for selling black people. President Zuma is here to end politics. He wants to take over the country and hand it over to the people who are supposed to lead it, beyond the reach of the criminals and beyond the reach of the drug dealers. Jan van Riebeeck himself was a criminal. When he was sent to Africa, he was taken out of jail in Europe. He was coming out of jail in Europe because he was a criminal living in his own home. So the people who came here to start this country called South Africa are criminals, and they've been ruling us in criminal ways. So even when they give over to the ANC, they were giving over to people whom they have prepared as criminals. In actual fact, we should not be surprised of all of these scandals. If you check, they are not even afraid. They are so bold. Like they know you can't do anything to them. Because criminality pays than if you are a straight citizen. They know they are protected. Whatever they can say or do, they are protected. The law will protect them. The police will protect them against anyone who wants to rise. If anyone wants to rise against President Ramaphosa, is going to meet the soldiers with guns on the streets. Fikile Mbalula said it the other day that they were ready when the MK party was out marching. He said they were ready. I don't know what stopped them, but he said they were ready to take over, to actually fight against their own people. The sellout racket that Malema and Ramaphosa are involved in can only be stopped by the MK. No other party has vowed to change the constitution. There's no other party will change the constitution. And there's no other party which is going to support the MK party except um, the ATM. There's no other party which is going to support the MK party to take over South Africa, because the MK party is going to end politics and is going to end the party of the elite. They call themselves the elite. Power is going to be taken over and be put beyond reach for such people. President Zuma is going to do that. So I want to say congratulations to President Ibrahim Traore, who never cease to uh, surprise black people and to show leadership. He's also dissolved the electoral commission in his country, saying it's actually a waste of time and money. Voting is a waste of time and money. We've never voted for our mothers and we've never voted for our fathers, but they lead us well. So voting is a waste of money. We've never voted for our uncles or any of the people that are around us. We've never voted. But those who are supposed to lead us, they lead us well. Those who are supposed to follow us, they follow us well. That is the view of President Ibrahim Traore, dissolving the Electoral Commission in Burkina Faso to put uh, um, power beyond the reach of the European powers, because democracy is the system which they are using to put their people in place and after 5 years, if you are not compliant to what white people want, they remove you and put another black man, just like that, so that there is no stability while they continue looting and taking. Why can't we have one president for 20 years, 30 years? Why can't we have, like, as long as somebody can still deliver authentically? Why can't we have people who would lead? If they continue to deliver, continue to lead. If they stop delivering, we remove them. Why can't we have such a system which would allow people to really be democratic? At the moment, there's no democracy. What they call democracy is the military government of our colonial masters. We're under the military government of the British. So if we are under the military government of the British, they call it democracy. If we want to fix black people, we need to fix the black family. The black woman is alone and pity in the street. The black woman is alone and in the street. The men who are supposed to build families are no more there. We only have more people who are turning into alcohol, not more who are turning into being useful husbands for women. So Ibrahim Traore correctly identified the problem and is resolving it by creating a school for husbands to be, and those who are currently husbands go through particular training on how to take care of a woman in order to make sure that Africa stop abusing its own women. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mngoni Mkonto, and this is the Royal Opinion. Click the like button and subscribe to the Royal Opinion. Ensure that you watch the videos and you watch all the advert in order to support the Royal Opinion to grow. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being in the show. And thank you very much for your contribution. Enjoy your night.